Good morning everyone, Nicholas Devine, assistant professional out here at Lake Carrick Country Club, and looking like another wet day here out here in Perth. Now today I have got two irons in what I call the battle of the hollow iron head. Unfortunately there was a third iron head that I couldn't get on my hands on today, which was the Titleist TMB. But we're going to have to stick with these two today, and today I have the Callaway Epic Pro Iron and the TaylorMade P790. Now straight away there is a lot of technology that has gone into these two heads, but I'm not going to sit here and talk about technology. I'm going to sit here and talk about the comparison between the two models. Now first of all, the first and foremost thing I want to cover is the loft of these two 7-irons. We always talk about how these tour players hit it so far these days. Well, back when I was a junior playing junior golf, the average 7-iron head loft was roughly 35 degrees. In these particular two models, the Callaway Epic comes in at 31 and the TaylorMade P790 comes in at 30.5. So straight away we are looking at two heads that are a lot stronger in loft. So you should start to see a little bit further distance. Now like I said, I'm not going to go into technology, but what they've effectively done with 7-irons is they've got now a 7-iron that flights out like an 8-iron because the CG location is lower back and further back, so it provides forgiveness and flight, but a loft of a 6-iron, so it goes extremely far. So you have stopping power, length and height in a player's iron. Pretty interesting. We've never seen that before in a player's iron. And let's make sure that you understand it. These two models are a player's iron. So these two clubs are, for me, aimed at the low figure handicapper who doesn't get out here to practice but still wants the look of a player's iron. And these two models sit perfectly in that category. Now I'm going to hit a few shots with both balls, probably about 5 or 6. I'm going to give them a feel, a grade on look, performance, feel, what they feel like off the face, and I'm also going to let you know about the recommended retail price on the two models. So let's first of all start off with look. Now when you put the two models down on the ground, the TaylorMade's top line is a lot thicker than the Callaway's. So straight away, when you're looking at a player's iron or you're coming to look at a player's iron, most players like to see a thin top line. So that's where I think the Callaway has it on the TaylorMade a little bit. But then when you're looking at the back of the heads, you can actually see where the TaylorMade has that player's iron look in comparison to the Callaway. Now the Callaway's back of the head is very busy, but it also screams, there's so much technology inside me, I look amazing. But then when you look at the TaylorMade P790 and you look at the back of the head, it really does look like a player's iron, and I love the fact that there's so many different grades of silver in this head. But when it comes to look and you're looking at both models, I'm going to have to say that it's probably a tie, and I'd probably give both models a grade of 8, but that's my personal opinion. It'd be interesting to see what you think. Now performance, so I'll hit the Callaway first and then I'll hit the TaylorMade, and I'll also look at how they feel and I'll give them a grade on that. So first and foremost, let's go the Epic. It does look good on the ground in front of you, we'll admit that. Now that wasn't the best swing, but the result was pretty good. So there's the forgiveness side of it. That was a better hit. Now straight away, it sounds great. And I've hit a good shot and I've hit a bad shot. So I'll hit a few more just so I can get a real good feel for what this feels like. One more. Okay, feels really good. Now I've hit a couple out of the middle, a couple out of the toe, and one slightly thin. But relatively, they've all gone down the middle. So on a grade of feel, it does feel solid off the face, and I love the sound that this is. It's not too, it's a very muscly kind of sound. So on a case of feel, I'd probably give this an 8 out of 10 as well. I could stand here all day and keep hitting that. All right, TaylorMade P790. We're going to look at the feel of this one as well. Again, putting this straight down on the ground, you can actually really definitely see that the top line of this is a lot bigger than the Callaway. Okay, that one was a thin one. But again, talking about forgiveness of a player's iron, it's gone perfectly down the middle, and it doesn't look like I've got too much variance in distance from this to the Callaway. Okay, same again, slightly off-centered hit, but a good result. Hopefully I can hit a good one in a sec. Okay, that's a better one. Roughly the same distance. But talking about feel of it, it feels great. Feels solid off the face, but again, like I said, for a player's iron, the forgiveness on this model is quite good. So I'll hit a couple more because I've only hit 3 with it. I'll hit. It's a very difficult one because for a guy who plays golf a lot, I actually like to know when I've actually mishit it. But with these two models, other than the response I get from the ground, knowing that I've hit a bad shot, the response that I know I've caught it low in the face, the end results are amazing. So it's a bit of an odd sensation or an odd feeling when it comes to a player's iron. But yet again, it feels amazing. So I'd have to give this an 8 as well. So both models are sitting pretty even at the moment. I'll go back to the Callaway again now and we'll talk about performance wise. Now I did a bit of performance data earlier yesterday just so I could get a real good feel of both the irons when it comes with regards to performance. Now the one thing I found funny enough was the Callaway was slightly longer, but when I mishit it, there was a bit of a distance change between the good one and the bad one. So to give you a rough idea, I was averaging roughly 152 meters, but when I missed with the Callaway, it dropped down to about 142. So that's where I didn't like the Callaway so much. Whereas when I went to the TaylorMade, or the P790, it was definitely shorter, okay? Which is quite funny considering the loft of this model is a lot stronger than that model. But in saying that, when I hit it good, it went 150. When I hit it bad, it went roughly 148 to 147. So there was only a 3-yard difference between good and bad. And when you're looking at irons, or when I'm looking at irons as a player, I do want that level of consistency between good and bad. If I'm trying to use a golf club, that's to help me out. So on that there, I gave the TaylorMade an 8 and I gave the Callaway a 7. So TaylorMade effectively has won the battle, which I never thought I'd ever say. I'll hit one more. So right now, there's only a point difference between the two models, but someone might find that result different. So let's just quickly talk about the recommended retail on both these two models. Now the Callaway Epic Pro, you might want to sit down. Recommended retail is roughly $339 per iron. The TaylorMade P790 sits roughly around the $269 per iron market. Now, if you're looking at in comparison to other models out there in the world, they're roughly, well, this one here is roughly about $40 to $50 more per iron. This one here is roughly about $100 more per iron. So they are very, very expensive models. But for the guy who plays golf or loves to play golf and has a low figured handicap but doesn't have the time to practice, here's the toys that you need. And it's everything that you're ever going to want in a forgiving player's iron. So really the winner in this is the low figured handicap player who doesn't actually have time to practice. But anyway, if you've actually hit these two irons before, leave a comment in the comment section and let me know what you think. If you have any questions on the two models, leave your question in the comment section. But make sure you like, make sure you subscribe to the page just here, and we'll see you next time on ND Golf.